Hola, bienvenidos to this week's Tarot Talk. I'm Auri Solares, and today we are going to discuss the week of May the 24th through to the 30th. We start off on Sunday with the Sun in Gemini making a sextile to Neptune in Aries at 3 degrees. The Sun in Gemini is very witty, it's very quick with ideas, it wants to socialize, it wants to have conversations with others and share ideas and think outside of the box. And Neptune in Aries has fantasies and dreams around what our spiritual fire is, around what we want to fight for to see a new reality or a fantasy come into the earth. So with this sextile, you might find that you're having conversations with others or ideas that really surround making these dreams and these fantasies come true that are focused on these Aries kind of themes of glorifying the good fight, the hero's journey, aggression even. There is such a thing actually as positive aggression, where you can channel this energy and direct it in a very concentrated way towards something that needs to happen. You know, for example, when you're at the gym and if you want to see growth, there is a certain level of aggression that you have to channel forward from your body in order for you to see the results you want to see. Aggression is not always this negative thing. It's negative when it's not channeled with intention or with a direction. There's nothing more dangerous than aggression that is just spewing about towards anyone or anything that'll listen or that'll take it. Focused aggression, maybe you want to aggressively pursue your goals and you are committed. That is that fire that is lit underneath you that will drive you there. There's something about how you are communicating today that really meddles in these themes, which I think can be very whimsical and exciting, especially amidst some of the other transits that we're having later this week. Later on, we have Mars in Tauro making a sextile to the North Node in Pisces at 4 degrees, nearly at the same time. And this feels like a bull that is charging forward towards what it is hungry for, towards what it desires. These two aspects happening today on Sunday really complement each other because the North Node in Pisces also lives within that kind of fantasy realm and what it's hungry for, but in a different tone. Neptune in Aries focuses on the fantasy and the dream, the daydream of taking action and having that drive, but it maybe doesn't know how to ground it or how to actually pursue the thing. But here we have Mars in Tauro, which you just give Mars in Tauro a direction and it's going to go towards it in a very fixed and steady pace. There's kind of no stopping Mars once it sets its sight on something when it is in Tauro. Really when it's in any sign. But Tauro specifically has this tenacity, this tenaciousness to really continue on its mission. And the sextile to the North Node in Pisces, again, it's that hunger for our dreams, this sense of connectedness, not just with others, but with the universe and with the stars and the divine. There is something about today that might bestow you with help or support along your journey. Today has this quality of really sitting with your dreams and taking action on them. I would only just be mindful to not get super carried away because of that Neptune influence. And when we have the Sun in Gemini, who's super jumping all over the place with ideas and inspiration, you can kind of get ahead of yourself pretty quickly. But it feels like a really fun day to work on a project, to come up with a plan on something that you want to improve upon, or at the very least, if you're just socializing with people, you might find that it's very exciting, different, and extraordinary kind of conversations or messages that are coming your way. I love this for Sunday. Then on Monday, the tone shifts ever so slightly. Sun and Mars are still some of the key players here. We have the Sun in Gemini making a square to the North Node in Pisces at 4 degrees, and Mars in Tauro making a square to Pluto in Aquario at 5 degrees. We might receive illuminations about the path that we're currently walking, and there may be something that is highlighted that you need to change or make changes on in order for you to be more supported as you go forward. Maybe a certain way of thinking or a certain way of communicating is no longer working for you in how you move through life, because Sun in Gemini is all about communication. How do you speak to yourself? What does your internal monologue sound like? How do you speak things out to others and into the world? Are you self-deprecating? Do you use a lot of unconscious limiting beliefs in your sentences? And is that still supporting you in what you want to achieve long term? As an example, language is hidden with so much magic. I love the Arabic language because so much of it is in praise and in love and adoration to the divine. It is embedded with love and gratitude. And then you have a language like English, which is inherently very limiting. There's, for example, like, oh, you have to lock in. Well, like if you're locking in, you're locking yourself in. Or the cliche one that people use as an example is saying like good morning. But mourning, to mourn, it's to be in a state of grief. You're mourning something. It's that deep. Some people roll their eyes about this because it gets, very spiritual woo-woo in their mind. But I'm kind of done classifying things as woo-woo. I understand that things can carry that deeper meaning, and a lot of people do too. So take it as it resonates, but that's just an example about how this influence can show up. How do you speak about yourself and to others? And is that in alignment with the person that you see yourself wanting to be or wanting to step into 2 years from now, 3 years from now? And how can you marry where your mind is now with the mind of your future you and how they think? Then we have Pluto and Tauro making that square to Pluto and Aquario at 5 degrees. This is a very volatile energy. When Mars and Pluto come together, it is violent, it's really tragic, it is intense. It can be passionate, it can be powerful if it's not hitting you in a very tense way. But even if you're not feeling it directly, the world at large, the greater stage, what have you, whatever you want to call it, will likely center around themes where there's a lot of pushback around power dynamics. What this feels like to me is the actions that we want to make at this time are receiving pushback from unconscious fears or power plays out in the world. Maybe there is some rage or anger as well that you have been sitting with that just comes to the surface and explodes on you today, because Mars is anger. And in Tauro, maybe that anger takes a second for it to come up, but once it's out, it is out. And Pluto unearths. It is the deep buried planet that holds all of our darkest fears and beliefs or sentiments. In Aquario, Pluto has been kind of the ambassador for artificial intelligence and progressions in that field, technology, also revolution and humanity as a whole. So this also feels like we are wanting to move in a direction that is for life and for the earth and for a reality that is so much more conscious of its impact on the planet. But power structures that be, or what have you, are pushing back. And it's this whole AI agenda, right? Where it just wants to make AI happen. And how do they do that? They tell you that it's already happening. There's nothing you can do. It's already here. It's going to take over. But the people who are saying that are the people who profit from that being the case. Don't let them plant those little seeds in you, because that's how they're trying to make this whole thing happen. And we know that it's harmful. We know that it is life killing. And so that's another theme that could be more out in the world that we are hearing a lot about today. On Tuesday, the 26th, the sun in Gemini makes a trine to Pluto and Aquario. So again, we're hearing a lot of this messaging to take it a little bit away from AI and that kind of technological sphere. This can also be a day where we are having a lot of conversations around what is extraterrestrial or alien-like. There could be something in the air that just feels like we're on a slightly different level of consciousness than usual as well. This could be a good day for you to share a message that is powerful. This could be a good day for you to unearth something via journaling or speaking with yourself even. Just be mindful that whatever it is that is coming your way today via messages or intuitions as well, it's going to be catalyzing. So use your words wisely, and themes as well around how we organize and revolution might be in the air a lot too. Just something to keep in mind. Thursday the 28th, we've got Venus in Cancer making a square to Saturn in Aries happening at 11 degrees. Our intuition is showing us something right now about our relationships, not just in love, but also maybe within our finances. And there might be a realization that you are arriving to that is asking you to either switch up the boundaries that you have within love, money, beauty, aesthetics, or cut it away. Something has to change regardless of what the decision is. Saturn in Aries is bringing a heaviness into the mix here. And so you might feel a bit down about what you expected something to be, whether that is a relationship, partnership, or a financial venture, and what it actually has resulted being. What did you commit to that you're realizing that you're maybe not wanting to continue in that commitment? Or the only way that you can continue in that commitment is if you change the terms of agreement, whether that is an actual business contract where it was like, hey, I know I agreed to this, this, and this, but this is not viable for me. And it actually needs to be this, or we can't continue. Or that can also be applied to a romantic relationship, a friendship. The way that you can navigate this transit is by really going within and finding the pleasures that soothe you. I'm not just talking about like putting on a face mask and, turning on a bubble bath, which, would be very apt for Venus in Cancer. But I also mean what within you, when you are in a moment of sadness or heaviness or intensity, lights up. What would cheer you up in that moment? And if it is a bubble bath and a face mask, then do that. Because in that moment, it'll allow for your energy to relax a little bit and for you to receive guidance and messages and ideas around how to resolve or work through the actual tension that Saturn and Aries could be bringing in your life right now. Overall, this week is pretty intense. It's really serious, and I wouldn't be surprised if something kind of big comes your way. The major players this week are Gemini house, Taurus, Cancer, and Aries. Pay attention to what houses these zodiac signs fall in your chart and how this week kind of unfolds for you. My biggest piece of advice would be to either develop a really strong grounding practice or find a grounding practice that really helps you clear your mind at the end of each day and at the beginning of each morning and really fixes you to the earth so that nothing can really sway you. The nature of these transits are really interesting, and it feels like we are being placed either physically or energetically exactly where we need to be before we continue forward. We're fast approaching the next lunation, and so this of course is all ramping up to that. I would say the biggest aspect happening this week is definitely that Mars square Pluto. So on Monday the 25th, I would especially just try to take it easy on this day. Don't add to a situation. Just make Monday your chill day. Take it easy because there's already a lot of energies at play that can throw something your way. And if you're like, Auris, I can't take Monday easy, I have work or I have this and I can't just like stop my life, I would say that try to be as level-headed as possible, and whatever it is that comes out, comes out. If you erupt in anger towards someone, that's probably that Mars-Pluto aspect. If someone cuts you off in traffic and you get angry or, God forbid something happens, this can all manifest so differently from person to person. And in these tarot talks, I do my best to kind of touch on different ways that it can manifest. But ultimately, your chart is what will signal in detail what it's really going to be or what it'll most likely be. If you're ever interested in understanding a period of time that is coming up in your life or a year ahead, then I'd be more than happy to sit with you, look at your stars, and talk about your chart. And we can talk about the best times to begin a project or times for you to be really mindful about your finances or about the way that you're moving through the world. You can check out all of my offerings at aurisolaris.net. And ultimately, I hope that this week is very grounding for you. Whatever it is that might show up for you, I hope that you are grounded and to really be graceful, not only towards others, but for yourself as well. I'm going to draw a card just to best support us for this week and see what it is that we need to know. We have El Diablo, and when El Diablo comes out, it is always going to grab your attention. You can't get a card like the Devil and just forget about it by the next day. It's pretty alarming when people get the Devil card. I quite like the Devil card, and here's why. It is signaling that something is coming to a head. Maybe you have been in a partnership or in a relationship of some sort that has been causing you suffering or sadness for some time now. But up until this point, you maybe haven't been able to quite put your finger on it or to say what you needed to say or do what you needed to do. When the Diablo card comes out, it's saying, time's up. You have to do something about this. Something's got to give, something's got to change because something is not working. For a lot of people, that is a tragedy because they don't want a circumstance to change. They're not ready. It feels scary or it feels painful. And also, the pain that could come from a situation ending now will pass because you will move through it. But the pain that comes from you never leaving a harmful situation is eternal. And you have to ask yourself which one you want. This can also be pertaining to how it is that you engineer for yourself circumstances that create these lessons for yourself for your own growth. In a roundabout kind of way, I basically just said, sometimes our life has experiences that feel hard because on the other side of that, we come out so much more wise, so much more ourselves. And yes, the situation was difficult, but it doesn't come without its fruits on the other side. And that's just life. Life is never just good and great because otherwise we'd never learn or expand from it. We have these difficult situations that we experience and they're surmountable. And we come out on the other side and we're like, wow, I'm not the same person that I was before. I'm so much stronger. I have much better boundaries now. I can hold my own. I know what kind of partners I do want and don't want. I know what kind of friendships I do want and don't want. And we are the engineers for that in our life because we are in this journey. This gets into my own cosmology. I believe that our higher self orchestrates these set of experiences in order for us to expand and grow in a specific kind of way. It seems like, oh, why would I put myself through this thing? But it's not that you're willingly signing up for suffering. It's that your guardian angel or higher self or Ella or the divine, they're all connected, need you to evolve to become someone. It's like the hero's journey. And when you choose to see life from that perspective, you get your power back. You don't feel like life is happening to you, but rather you are in this and you're like, okay, for some reason, this is something that needs to happen and it sucks and it's painful, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to show up for myself. I'm going to grow from this and it's going to be okay. That's how I choose to see things. And something that a teacher of mine once said, which I remember all the time, is learning to forgive yourself for needing hard lessons. This card really ties into the intensity of the week that we've discussed so far. So again, be graceful with yourself, be graceful with others, and I would really encourage that at the end of each day, you meditate just for 5 minutes to clear your mind, to notice what is circulating in your mind nonstop, and to really give yourself a break and a chance to assimilate everything that you're experiencing at this time because it's a lot. I'm wishing you so much luck. Muchas bendiciones. Let me know how this week goes for you. I hope I didn't scare you, but rather helped you feel a little bit more prepared for this week of May. Thank you so much for being with me today. I will see you in the next one. And until then, cuídense.